Ah, hello guys. Hello, hi. Welcome
Oh my
to
god!
stream. Stream കാണാൻ
Well,
പറ്റും എന്ന്
it
വിശ്വസിക്കുന്നു.
happened.
അയ്യോ.
Terrifier 2. Man, I'm so pumped for this movie. There's an extremely
Okay, so
successful
for the people
crowdfund
who
for
are
it. Tons of hype was surrounding this movie because the first Terrifier was such an iconic slasher.
hello.
It's so insane. If you haven't seen my
So for the
video-
people who are, I guess, interested in the video in the background, it's from a YouTuber, Elvis the Alien. Check it out. If you're interested, I guess he does like movie reviews and stuff, I guess. But yeah, it's very entertaining channel, I guess, at least for me, I guess. എനിവേസ് ഇന്നത്തെ ടൈറ്റിൽ വേറെ ഒന്നുമല്ല, ഞാൻ ഇന്നലെ ഇടാൻ ഉദ്ദേശിച്ച, പക്ഷെ ഞാൻ കംപ്ലീറ്റ്ലി മറന്നുപോയി ഇങ്ങനൊരു വലിയൊരു എല്ല് നടന്നെന്ന്. സോ ഇറ്റ്സ് റിഗാർഡിങ് ദി പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോം ഫോമർലി നോൺ ആസ് ട്വിറ്റർ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ എക്സ്. So apparently Elon Musk is pushing a feature to remove the block button. Except for DMs. ഞാൻ അത് ക്ലിയർ ആയി പറഞ്ഞേക്കാം because I don't know. I don't know. Like, yeah. So I honestly think it's that someone, actually many people just, straight up block Elon or any of the the major financial sponsors for the application, I guess, and that is negatively impacting their profits. So they went into the complete, എനിക്കറിയില്ല, അങ്ങനെയാണെന്ന് തോന്നുന്നു. Like that's the only thing that makes sense logically.
Come on, let's attack this zone. Attack this zone. Throw caution and mercy to the wind.
No LMG. എന്തൊക്കെയാ ചെയ്യേണ്ടത് ഞാൻ? 5 headshot and sensor assist.
Mark star out.
Normal. How do I use this weapon? എനിക്കെന്താ വേറെ ഒന്നും ഇല്ല. അയ്യോ.
And for a limited time, you can use code HOLIDALIAN at checkout to get 25% off. That's code HOLIDALIAN. Alien.
The zone's been neutralized.
Took me a long time to
Hopefully
figure
our
out.
foes didn't leave a stench.
Like over there. Now back to
ഓക്കെ, ഞാൻ ഗ്രനേഡ് എറിയണമെന്നുണ്ടായിരുന്നു, മറന്നുപോയി.
this movie starts basically
We've captured the zone.
Through the mundane.
Hopefully,
That's a bad thing.
good one. Something good.
starts out pretty strong. And then there's a hilarious scene at a laundromat.
They got a zone. Blue Wise says.
We're then introduced to a young girl clown, or mime. I think they're like clown mimes. They act like mimes. Like they communicate without speaking. I don't know. I love the look of this girl. She's so creepy looking. I feel like she's almost creepier than Art the Clown. And the first thing we see her do is piss black sludge.
Recharging shields.
I'm not sure why she did this. It was weird and gross.
Ew,
We
what
got
the
a zone.
what is
That's
that?
a good thing.
I kind of wish this girl served more purpose in the movie, because for the most part, she's just like an interesting character. She does a couple things throughout the movie, like scare some people, and she makes a phone call. But for the most part, she's like a non-character. She's kind of just like this phantom that follows Art the Clown around. It's implied early on in the movie that this girl only exists in Art the Clown's mind, because there's this other guy in the laundromat who wakes up and watches Art playing patty cake with this girl, but this guy can't see her. So it looks like Art is just a deranged lunatic playing patty cake with himself. I mean, he is a deranged lunatic, but to him, he's not playing patty cake. The idea that the little girl is only in Art's mind is contradicted later in the movie because the main character can see and other people can't. So, I'm not sure what that means. And then we're introduced to the main characters, Sienna, her young brother Jonathan, and their mother. Jonathan wants to dress up like Art the Clown for Halloween, and he's kind of obsessed with him, but his needs just practically nothing. And I was kind of disappointed by that. I was kind of hoping Jonathan would dress up as Art the Clown, and they would meet, between them or something, they can be creative with it, but that doesn't end up happening. Jonathan never ends up dressing up like Art. Sienna falls asleep while watching a commercial for a clown cafe, and this dream sequence goes on for way too long, but the reward for sitting through it is pretty awesome. That's so random. Art mows down everybody in this room with a Tommy gun, and then lights the person who's singing on fire. She's alive still. Sienna wakes up to find that her room is on fire. There's a scene where Art and the young girl watch an interview with a victim of the first movie, but it's only purpose because Art is upset that people believe he's dead. I think the scene could easily been removed, although he is preparing his weapon in this scene that he uses later in the movie, but still. Jonathan has some
But I think it's
very
75
strange
damage, so
friends. They're
86
poking the
damage.
corpse of an opossum. Later, Jonathan finds that Art and the little girl are playing with the same corpse in the
Lockdown,
school's
I hope.
hallway. It's a pretty gross scene, but it's also pretty funny. Jonathan is then blamed for the mess. And then there's a scene when Sienna is shopping at a Halloween store, looking for replacements for her costume. Art the Clown is also shopping there. This clown does things ordinary people do.
It's hallowed stone.
Shopping. Keep watching TV.
Sienna gets her purse downstairs, so Art brings it to and then models some really silly shades. It's so good. I love that they're not afraid to make Art a super goofy villain. So Sienna leaves. Art is the last person in the store, so he turns the open sign to closed. Why he didn't just kill Sienna and the cashier is very strange to me. He likes her, I guess, until later in the movie. He lets her leave. Very nice. Which is even weirder because he ends up luring her to a location to kill her there by kidnapping her little brother. That's how desperate he was to kill her. So it's just weird, right? To let her leave? Obviously he kills the cashier, but before he does so, he doesn't want to steal, because stealing's bad. So he has to buy this clown horn that he honked in Sienna's ear earlier, and it was really funny. So he sits his massive trash bag on the ground, and he starts rummaging through it, trying to find cash to pay for this clown horn.
Here's their defense.
He keeps putting this random stuff on the counter to make some room to find the money. It's so good. While Art is counting the change, the clerk slams on the counter, and Art's reaction is amazing. After killing the clerk, a kid and his mother peer through the glass door, and they find Art there, pretending to be a statue, holding the clerk's head. Like, why is he doing this? We learn that the small clown girl was Art's first victim. If you read the news clipping, there's hints that she could have been related to Art in some way. But as of now, that's speculation. Apparently her body was found horribly mutilated in a makeup trailer at a carnival. In the movie, she's a sort of ghostly version of her living self, I guess. Jonathan keeps his late father's sketchbook and believes their father knew how to stop Art, but his sister and mother don't believe it. Sienna's friend Annie's death is by far
What the fuck? അങ്ങനെ എല്ലാം മിസ്സായത്.
probably the scene that led to some people puking or rushing out of the theater or something. I thought it was gross, yeah, but not nearly that gross. You know, the blood isn't super convincing in this movie. It's almost too red, like ketchup almost. But that doesn't mean these scenes were bad. They were pretty
I'll give them
gruesome.
a piercing or two.
The practical effects team did a lot of great work in this movie. So Annie's house is approached by Art on Halloween, but she denies him candy because he's an
Recharging
adult.
shields.
Why would you do that?
Really, no candy for grown-ups.
No candy for grown-ups? What? Look at his costume. Obviously, he put a lot of
Chuck in a
effort into
thermite.
it. Just give him some candy. What the hell's the problem? So she deserved what happened to her. So yeah, she faces the repercussions of being rude by being scalped and heavily mutilated while you're still alive. Art does not like it when you don't give him the candy he wants on Halloween. Do not deny Art candy. There's a part when Art like takes her arm and pulls it in two like it's string cheese. Oh my god! Like it just splits in half like it's made of cake. And you run into that is it cake? Oh my god, and they make all this stuff super realistic out of cake, and the whole point is to guess whether or not it's cake. Art then pours bleach all over her, and then jams salt into her wounds to keep her alive, I guess. He literally rips her face off. Oh god. So yeah, Annie's mom comes home and finds Annie in her room, sitting in her bed with Art. And this scene is horrifying. It's so disturbing. Ew. And then she like regains consciousness for a second and calls out to her mother best she can. God, it's so painful to watch. And Art's just like silently laughing the whole time. Oh god. We don't see Art kill her mother, but obviously he does, because he ends up using her head as a bucket for candy for kids. This movie is great, dude. But yeah, some scenes go on for a little bit too long. Some of the acting leaves a lot to be desired, but goddamn, this movie is so fun. And then we get a really boring party scene. Sienna's friend Brooke spikes Sienna's drink with Molly or something. So there's a scene when she's like walking around the party all high. And then her mom calls her and they talk on the phone for a little bit. Her mother's really upset because Jonathan put shaving cream and toilet paper all over her car and wrote bitch on the windshield. We later find out that Art was the one that did this to her car because he's sitting in the driver's seat. Which is weird because Jonathan was the one that called her a bitch. So obviously the mom would think that Jonathan was the bitch. Maybe Art overheard their conversation. He was like hiding in the garage. Who knows? Where'd he get the shaving cream and the toilet paper? It was probably in his bag. And how did the mom not see him sitting there when she walked in? Especially if there's writing on the windshield. He was probably like ducking or something. Anyway, she cleans the driver's side window and Art's sitting there. He's holding a sawed-off shotgun and he just blows her face off. She's dead. I'm just gonna say, if I were one of Art's victims, I would want to be her. Quick and easy. The little girl clown scares Sienna at the party. Sienna's scream when she sees her is pretty funny. Art the clown then serves Sienna's mother dinner. She clearly can't eat because her face is missing, but you know, Art's a nice guy. So he serves her mashed potatoes, and he mashes the mashed potatoes into her mashed face, while Jonathan is watching. Jonathan is then chased by Art, and eventually he's sedated. Why Art didn't kill him? Well, they need him to lure Sienna to a place to kill her. Because
damage
Art
ordinance
desperately wants to
86
kill
damage
Sienna.
ചെയ്തല്ലോ.
Even though he clearly had the opportunity earlier in the movie, they could easily just text Sienna with Jonathan's phone, and they do end up doing that. But this girl clown somehow has the power to mimic Jonathan's voice, so they get on the phone with Sienna, and the little girl's talking to her through the phone using Jonathan's voice, telling her to go to the Terrifier, which is like this haunted maze at a Halloween attraction. The phone thing was kind of dumb, to be honest.
I don't know what else to do. I can't call mommy.
Okay, all right, calm down. I'll come.
That was stupid. I know they had to give this little girl something to do. I don't know, it's just silly, right? It really sucks because this character is so cool looking, and I feel like they squandered her in this movie. Oh well, you know, you can't have everything. Sienna's friend Brooke has a boyfriend. Guess what his name is? Jeff wears a shirt in this movie that says, "Just the tip, I promise." So you can probably guess how Art kills him. Art's gonna cut his dick off or something.
Yep, just the tip.
Jeff is peeing outside, and Art the Clown comes up and, you know, jams the knife directly into his crotch and stabs him there repeatedly, over and over. He then rips what's left of his little dingling off, and then Art shows Brooke, right? Here's just the tip, I got it for you. Brooke is so
what
stupid
the
in this
shit,
scene.
onnuille.
She gets in the driver's seat of the car. She even starts the ignition, so she can drive away, right? Well, she just screams and lets Art pull her out of the driver's side window. So stupid. She then kicks him in the face. And he flops backwards. He looks annoyed at first.
Like autofill ആവുമായിരുന്നെങ്കിൽ
There's some fight in her.
ഞാൻ
It's so funny how Art always acts so bewildered and annoyed when he's attacked, even though he's immortal. He eventually throws acid all over Brooke's face, causing it to melt off within seconds. It looks pretty awesome. He beats her to death and then rips up the Brooke's heart and eats it. I mean, I doubt her heart would be beating still, but maybe. He did do it pretty quick, so. The end of this movie is kind of confusing to me. For some reason, Art desperately wants to kill Sienna. He keeps Jonathan alive for no reason. Maybe they needed him alive so the girl could mimic his voice, but then why not kill him right after the phone call? They just keep him alive for some reason. They rush through this haunted house. Sienna manages to attack Art by surprising him by the club. It's like sticking out of his head, and he looks so annoyed by this. God damn it. So remember how he was using a cat of nine tails in the first movie? Well, he brings it back for this one, and he whips the shit out of Jonathan. Sienna's able to grab it, and she takes it from him and starts whipping him with it. Apparently, Sienna's father knew that Sienna was the only one that could stop Art. It was destined.
It was written as the old clown Paul's fate or something.
Pretty stupid, but whatever. Sienna is killed with her father's sword and thrown into a water torture cell, surrounded by lights. What is this thing doing here? Why is there a water torture cell in this haunted house? Did they actually torture people here? I don't know, I just found that kind of weird, right? Sienna's then transported back to her nightmare within the clown castle as she drowns. Art then attempts to eat Jonathan as he's squirming away. He's just like eating him. He doesn't try and kill him first, you know, it would probably make eating him a lot easier. Yeah, sure, just eat him right now. Sienna is then mysteriously resurrected by the sword. She then decapitates Art.
Yeah.
That's his gun. The clown girl takes Art's head and leaves without attacking Sienna or Jonathan. I gotta be honest, the sword resurrection thing is dumb as hell. I don't mind if you explain how this happened, but they don't. It's just like a random thing that happens. If you're gonna do something like this, you gotta explain why it happens. I mean, come on, dude. I know this is a very silly slasher movie with an immortal clown thing, but some explanation would have been nice. I know that her father knew that this would happen somehow, but that's the only explanation we get. Maybe they'll explain it in the next one, and you guys thought it was over. Oh no, there's a post-credit scene, and oh god. So remember Victoria Hayes from the first movie? One of Art's victims that was heavily mutilated? Well, here she is again, confined to a psychiatric hospital room. She's sitting there mutilating herself, writing obscenities on the wall to her blood. Her belly begins to float as if pregnant, and then she gives birth to Art the Clown's head. It looks like she's licking it for some reason, or maybe she's eating it. It's hard to tell. She wrote their names Art plus Vicky on the wall, surrounded by a bloody heart. Very sentimental. And then her eyes glow yellow. This reveals to us that either Art the Clown is able to retain control over his victims because the little pale girl's eyes also turn yellow and she was Art's first victim, or alternatively, the demonic presence within the little pale girl has transferred to Victoria in order to ensure Art's return. When Victoria gives birth to Art's head, she appears to disembowel herself in the process, and I don't think you could survive that. Maybe the characters must suffer and die in order for Art to control them. When this movie was good, it was great, but it also dragged quite a bit, and there were some nonsensical moments. Overall, I liked it. I thought it was great fun. Art the Clown is amazing. David Howard Thornton did an incredible job. And yeah, that's my review of Terrifier 2. Let me know what you thought of this movie in the comment section down below. Thank you so much to all my patrons that make this possible. I love you guys. And if you haven't already, please head over to aliensclothing.com, my personal clothing brand. That's AYYLIEN clothing.com. We sell out pretty quick over there, so if you want something, you can get it now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!
Oh wait, നമുക്കൊരാളില്ലേ? റിലീസ് ടൈമിൽ ഒന്നും ആയില്ലേ?
Casting a frag. Recharging shield.
Yes! Willy's Wonderland, man. After months and months of waiting,
pierces through.
Willy's Wonderland is here, and it is not as good as I hoped it would be. Isn't that right? You know, you can say something. There, okay. Yeah, he doesn't say a fucking word. I'm not sure how I feel about that one. Yeah, he might be all smiles behind me, but the Nicolas Cage in this movie is a huge sourpuss. They try to make him look like badass, you know. He kind of reminded me of Mad Max. They're basically like that badass protagonist that doesn't say anything. He's all mysterious. You're not really sure of his backstory. He has a cool demeanor about him.
Pierce through the mundane.
So yeah, basically everybody on Earth asked me to make this video, and I am not joking. Make this video. Did I even have a choice? I remember in 2020 when this movie was announced, everybody lost their minds, and yes, dear viewer, I was one of those people. Just the idea of an insane Nicolas Cage in a FNAF-style movie is incredible. We've all seen him freak out in movies like Mandy, Color Out of Space, Mom and Dad. So collectively, we just imagine how amazing this project would be. This movie had a cult following before it was even released. There was a guy who made a claymation of the movie. Someone made an animation. There was a ton of fan art. And did it live up to the hype? Well, kinda. I'm gonna lean more towards no, but it's not. It's kind of. There are scenes where you're like, hell yeah, let's go. But a lot of it, you're like, oh.
My shield's
Kevin Lewis, the director, hasn't made anything I've seen before, but he did a decent enough job.
But like I said at the end of the day, I want to just because it's about it.
The guy who wrote this movie and the brains behind the whole thing is named Gio Parsons. I watched an interview with him, and he seems like a fun-loving, great guy.
Forget this! Forget you! I'm done! I'm done! I'm out of here!
I just asked how it really was.
And you can tell this movie has a lot of heart put into it, especially for a low-budget movie. I don't think it's nearly as iconic as Mandy or Color Out of Space, but it definitely has its place. I think Mandy and Color Out of Space were pretty cool movies with whereas Willy's Wonderland, instead of being a good movie, it's just a
shields
big
need a bit more power.
At least that's how I see it. So yeah, like I said before, Nicolas Cage, he's a mute. It kind of sucks because as much as I like the faces that he makes, he's kind of a fun guy to watch. His line delivery, there's so many iconic Nicolas Cage things saying something that is ridiculous, something that is really funny.
That's what she was there for. That was the plan. To give you a boner.
Quite a lot of screaming and grunting in this movie, and slurping. Lots of slurping. And I get the whole silent, badass protagonist premise, and it kind of worked for this movie, but it wasn't really what I was expecting, and in that way, I was let down. According to Gio Parsons' interview with this YouTuber, after reading the script, I guess basically like what the movie was about, because he doesn't have a script, but, you know, he doesn't have it. Unless it's just like Nick Cage enters room, Nick Cage makes face. According to Gio Parsons, Cage was the brains behind some of the characters, like Nighty Night and Marty the Alligator. The first Night was supposed to be a pirate, but Nick Cage said that was too cliche, so they changed it. And according to Gio, Nick was very accommodating. Gio sent Nick the script on a Friday, and on Monday he was like, all right, let's do it. What a legend.
Nicolas Cage said, and it was like one of the nicest things anybody has ever done for me. He said, like,
This is the script that I want to do. I want to do the script that Gio wrote.
Wow.
So if you guys want me involved, that's what we're doing.
I think it's really cool that Nicolas Cage is giving smaller budget movies and smaller filmmakers a chance. Because with projects like this, I don't think he's getting paid nearly as much as he would have if he took on a bigger project. So it's just cool to see. I like to imagine that Nick is taking on roles like this because he likes doing it, and it's fun for him. A lot of people accuse this movie of being a Five Nights at Freddy's ripoff, and I definitely see their point. That's a very valid argument to make.
FNAF at Freddy's. That's where I wanna go.
While the animatronics are definitely different, they're both extremely similar in a lot of ways. Even the plots are very similar. Like, people's souls inhabit these machines, so they turn into killing machines. They both have something to do with a serial killer. Yeah, it's very similar. He does make a fair comparison in this interview. He compares his movie to FNAF like you would compare The Walking Dead and The Living Dead. Both have to do with zombies and both are fun in their own ways. Yeah, I can kind of see
hopefully
what
in
but
the
there isn't something that has dominated the evil animatronic genre as much as FNAF. Like, I can't think of anything else out there, really,
what?
that is like FNAF, other
Why?
than Willy's Wonderland. I'm sure there are other things out there, but I personally haven't heard of them. He claims that he didn't get the idea from FNAF, and a while ago when he shot his short film, Wally's Wonderland, which featured him as the main role, it was an original idea, according to him. And it's not like there aren't establishments like Chuck E. Cheese out there that someone could easily think up like some sort of horror movie within that setting. I still like to think of it as the Nick Cage FNAF movie. But anyway.
It's birthday time!
The movie starts by showing us a couple in Willy's being hunted by the animatronics. The woman being hunted spots a hiding child before being killed. Then we're shown a badass car driving fast. The color correction in this movie kind of looks like they just used the Heffy Instagram filter on every scene to make it look extra orange. Then we get to see Nick Cage in all his leather jacket wearing glory. He's wearing cool guy shades, and his facial hair is very well groomed. So he's driving along the road and his tires burst from running over a spike strip. He gets picked up by a mechanic who drives him back to his shop. We cut to a girl named Liv about to burn down Willy's. She's arrested by the sheriff, who's played by Beth Grant. It's interesting to see another familiar face in a small-time movie like this. She was in a bunch of well-known movies like Donnie Darko, National Country Road. One of those actresses that you see all over the place. Oh, hey. I know that person. Who is that?
Oh, come on, character actress Margot Martindale.
So the sheriff handcuffs Liv in a trailer and tells her that she'll be back in the morning. That's kind of cruel.
There's chips on the coffee table and a bucket on the floor. Try not to make a mess.
It's back. Was occupied by a cult of depraved people, serial killers, rapists, whatever. Eventually, when the police got onto them and arrived to take them all them were found dead after performing a satanic ritual. Basically, they just offer their souls to the devil. The devil was like, all right, you guys can live. So these evil people on through the animatronics.
I still see it.
Unable to stop them. So the sheriff and the new owners of Willy's made a pact with the animatronics that if they left the town alone, that they'd feed them random outsiders that ventured into the town. And as you can guess, Nick Cage was one of these people. Okay, backstory over. Nick Cage doesn't carry cash on him because who does that anymore? Boomers do that. Oh wait. The ATM is broken and it's gonna cost $1,000 to fix his car. So to pay for it, he agrees to clean Willy's from top to bottom overnight. $1,000 a day for janitorial work? Damn, that's pretty good. Sign me up. I want to be on staff, please.
Congratulations. You are officially on staff.
Nick Cage silently agrees and shakes Tex McAdoo's hand. Yes, the owner of Willy's Wonderland is named
Entropy is the natural order of the universe.
ചേടേ ഒരു കഷ്ടം ഇതെങ്കിലും കൊടുക്കായിരുന്നു.
My name is Tex.
This match is going to be extravagant.
And his mustache is offensively fake. Just grow a regular
games are
You
anything
don't have to
but
buy a
random.
mustache
If your eyes are open.
when it's free. Tex McAdoo. I think they were going for a cartoony,
Introducing your
like,
champion.
goofy vibe. So Liv has this group of friends that also know the history of Willy's, and they want to destroy it. They find her in the trailer, and they set her free. For the most part, these kids are terrible at acting.
Well, let's roll out. Want to see that bitch burn.
Yeah, burn, baby, burn.
Some of the time, it's serviceable. The rest of the time, it is god-awful. We return to Willy's, and we get to watch Nick Cage clean. Yes. A lot of this movie is just us sitting there watching Nick Cage clean. That's like 30% of the movie. Nick Cage is cleaning this room and that room over there, and the bathroom and the closet. Also, he's obsessed with this purple energy drink or soda called Punch. He's constantly drinking them throughout the movie. And I did not mind this. I thought it was kind of funny and random. And yeah, I get, okay, he loves this drink called Punch because he likes to punch things. It gives him the energy to punch things. It's very video gamey. He finds a pinball table in the break room. And you know our boy Nick, he loves pinball. Isn't that right, Nick? Or not. The first animatronic he comes up against is Ozzy the Ostrich. Ozzy the Ostrich versus Nicolas Cage. Who will win? It's kind of funny, they have a staring contest for a second. Nicolas Cage, like, pokes it with the broom. He's like, hey, are you alive or what? And then it attacks Nick. The animation is very bad. What the hell? But I mean, what can you really expect with a movie with this kind of budget? So it's hard to blame the movie here. Nick then snaps the broomstick and beats the shit out of it with a broken broomstick handle. There's not a lot of heft behind the broomstick handle. Not have a lot of
call out.
those arms of his. He must have his strength skill tree maxed out. That's the only way. And oh no, his shirt. It's gross now. It's covered in machine feces. What will he do? So he changes his shirt. Whenever he's covered in this machine shit, he just changes. Who wants to be dirty?
Not me.
I think it probably would have been funnier if throughout the movie he just got dirtier and dirtier. You know, and by the end, he's just completely covered head to toe in this machine gunk. So Nick cracks open a cold punch and continues cleaning. It's bathroom time. It's filthy. And Nick doesn't like filth. Do you, Nick? Don't worry, you don't have to say anything. I know you won't anyway. So he scrub-a-dub-dubs. He's cleaning the shit out of this place.
Bullshit, you got all that off.
He's a good janitor. I love that they basically paid Nick Cage to become a janitor. And that's it. Like, he doesn't say anything, he just cleans. Every once in a while, he pretends to beat the shit out of a machine. But most of the time, he's just cleaning. And then the animatronics start singing this creepy birthday song. Nicolas Cage's birthday is January 7th. I like to imagine that it was literally his birthday when they were filming this scene. So Nick goes back into the bathroom, and he's taunted by a disembodied voice.
I'm gonna eat your eyes out and then feast on your soul.
So he searches the stalls until he's attacked by Gus the gorilla. I say attacked, but the gorilla doesn't do much. It kind of just kicks him back into the wall and hugs him as Nicolas Cage just beats the shit out of its head. Nick is thrown into a stall, and then he emerges with a gorilla's worst nightmare. That's right, a plunger to the mouth. Did you get it? Because the plunger is shaped like a gorilla mouth. So it can just suction right on there. He does this multiple times. And the gorilla doesn't too. Oh, it's yucky. To finish the gorilla off, Nicolas Cage curb stomps the gorilla on a urinal. So I guess he urinal stomped the gorilla. I'm not sure if this is the first case of urinal stomping in existence, but I like to think that it is. And oh my god, Nick, you spent all this time cleaning the bathroom, and look what you did to the urinal. The mirror's broken, the wall's broken. How are you gonna explain this to the owner, man? Who knows how much longer you have to spend in the bathroom cleaning it. Jesus Christ. Talk about an irresponsible janitor. At this point, I think it's pretty clear that all the animatronics are deadly, but Nicolas Cage, he has a mission. It's to clean, not to kill animatronics. So he ignores the rest of them, as if they're not deadly, and continues to clean. You'd assume that after Nicolas Cage destroyed Ozzy the Ostrich and urinal stomped the gorilla, that the rest of them would just gang up on Nick. Because he's clearly not gonna die very easily. But, They don't. Yeah, they don't do that. I'm assuming they've never had trouble killing people until now, which is kind of hard to believe based on how they're trying to kill Nick. You know what I mean? The final boss in this movie is Willie the Weasel. Throughout the movie, Nicholas and Willie have staring contests. It's kind of cute. There's a scene of Nick filing his fingernails with sandpaper, and it really bothered me. Look at how dry and irritated his fingers look. Jesus, why was he filing his fingernails with sandpaper? I don't get it. It's out of nowhere, and they left it in the movie.
Nothing surprises me.
Scene of Nicolas Cage filing his fingernails with sandpaper. Now that was
He's ready to pull some G's.
It's very important to this character. Another massive defining character trait for Nicolas Cage's character in this movie is crushing his punch soda cans. Yeah, he crushes them real good, and he does it over and over again, because that's what a badass would do. You don't just throw away the can, because it would take up too much space, you know? You gotta crush it first. So it takes up the least amount of space to track. I love how Nick desperately wants the place to be spotless, regardless of the fact that he's being punched. Do you think the owner didn't know that his animatronics killed people? Maybe he just didn't know. Yeah, I think it leans more towards Nick just wants to do his job. He's in there to clean, get out, and get his car and be on his way. That's it. So the kids show up late at night with a bunch of gasoline to light the building on fire. They pour the gas all over the side of the building. Only after pouring the gas does Liv tell them that they can't light it because there's a guy inside it that they have to save.
Nice. Beautiful.
Wouldn't that be, like, nice to know before getting there? Why wouldn't she tell these people that they have to save the guy inside the building first before lighting the building on fire? She just figured that she would tell them after they already poured the gasoline on the building. You know gas dries up and then you won't be able to light it, right? Like, now you're on the clock. So, okay, so they're dumb kids. Makes sense. The front door is locked, so Liv travels through a vent to get inside. This is one of those scenes that is, like, suspiciously similar to FNAF because they regularly do things with vents in those games. So it's kind of hard to believe after seeing this scene that it's not inspired at all by FNAF, but whatever. So yeah, obviously there's an animatronic in this vent, and it crawls after Liv. It's Artie the alligator. Yeah, you guys seeing a theme with their names? If you made it this far in the video, type "Thanks for the review, Alan the alien," and I'll make sure to heart at least one of them. You get it, right? Like Alan alien. They both start with A, dude. So Artie the alligator chases Liv out of the vent. She lands in a misty forest type room where Sarah the siren is hanging out. Sarah starts toying with Liv until she pulls her into the ceiling. Nick finds his way into the forest room, and Liv drops down on top of him. It's kind of awkward. Like, was this supposed to be sexual? I hope not. I hope not. I hope not. I don't think it was supposed to be, but it's still kind of weird. Liv tells Nick that they need to find a way to get out of there. Nick doesn't want to. He's not done cleaning. So he turns around and he's like, yeah, no. Bye. I have some cleaning to do. The next scene shows the rest of the kids on top of the building. The night sky in the background is so fake, it's laughable. They
I got a kill.
Go after Liv. Two of the guys have a disagreement, so one of them tackles the other, and they fall through the roof into a ball pit. I guess the roof is compromised now, so the rest of the kids also fall through the roof into another ball pit.
What?
What are the odds of that happening? Come on. Ugh. This movie is very goofy.
Wait until you see the world from my point of view.
I don't think it was taking itself too seriously. I appreciate that, but it's also really stupid. And I don't think being goofy is a good enough excuse for a bunch of plot contrivances. So they're all in this main hall area. All the animatronics are now standing up on the stage. Liv notices Sarah up there, so she runs up to stab her. And then Nick stops her at the last second.
What are you doing? What the hell? What are you doing?
Because if someone's going to destroy property in this place, it's gonna be Nick, not you. I honestly have no idea why he stopped her right here.
Okay,
maybe he was protecting her. I don't know. Maybe he stopped her because if he stabbed her, he was getting up on them or something. But why would you have to attack them for them to attack you? That doesn't make any sense. It's so funny how he stops her. He grabs her arm, and then he throws her over his shoulder and brings her over to where the kids are and drops her.
Good job.
That's it. Maybe he just wants to kill them all himself.
Okay, thank you.
That's probably what it is. He doesn't want the property destroyed unless they attack him. You know, he's
Give me
on
my
staff.
shield, so
It's
grab
his
one.
ass if the property is damaged. He takes her knife from her, which is weird. Like, really, you literally killed this with a plunger and your boot. She needs it a lot more than you do, man. He's kind of rude. Two of these kids are named Bob and Kathy. They're both absolutely moronic. So they find themselves in the super happy fun time room. Basically, this is where all those evil people kill themselves.
Wings up.
Kathy thinks She's like, hey Bob, are you getting away right now, or is it just me? And then Bob's like, oh, you a free?
Oh!
There's killer animatronics.
In the morning. Clutching.
Smartest idea.
ഇതെന്റെ കളിയാ.
The next animatronic to attack them is Nighty Night. He stabs one of the kids with a giant foam sword. The movie regularly tries to convince us that
Box 3, missile off the rails. Wings out.
and they can do a lot of damage. I've seen more convincing weapons at a LARPing event. It's kind of silly that they're trying to convince me that these are real. And are you telling me that this Nighty Night is a real-ass sword? This entire time, and this was a place for children? Like, before Eve came here, this knight just had a big-ass sword. Animatronics are real. They're for the children. Artie the alligator shows up in the room where Bob and Kathy are playing. He's like, it's staring at it. And Bob goes, it's break time for Nick, so he's just enjoying some pinball. Like, really. He's got some sort of pinball fetish. I'm not sure what it is. Pinball ain't just fun, chill. Sarah the Siren and Tito the Turtle tag team this random kid. And now Nick's break is done, so it's back to work. So he smashes the knight's head against the wall into an oily pulp and then chops its head off with its own sword. He stands there all menacingly. And oh shit, his shirt is all dirty now. Again! How many times does he have to change? 10? It's despicable. How is the janitor in this place supposed to remain presentable? Come on. Artie the alligator is finally done wanking in the corner, so he attacks and kills Bob and Kathy. Nick and Liv hear them dying in there, so Nick kicks the door down. He just kicks it down. It looks like our boy Artie is in trouble now. I kind of like this one punch man thing that he was doing. For some unbeknownst reason, this random middle-aged man that isn't even well built, like he's just this random guy, right? But for some reason, he's working animatronics. So yeah, he just walls in and rips up Artie's jaw and leaves. He's like, all right, there's another one. Here we go. Bye. And then we're introduced to Cammy the Chameleon. It convinces Chris that she's not like the other animatronics. Obviously, she's lying, but he falls for it.
If you can help me get there.
I do kind of like how some of the animatronics have different ways of killing people. The alligator hides and only kills its prey when they're caught off guard. Sarah the Siren is nimble and hard to get her hands on. Cammy the Chameleon has level 100 speech, and the gorilla is just a dumb ape. And Tito the Turtle, no idea. But you get Fox 3. Billy the Weasel is just really tall and very strong. Chris called the cops on their way to the about Liv's backstory. So basically, Liv was the little girl that the people found at the beginning of the movie. Basically, her parents were killed by the animatronics, and she was able to hide until morning. So they found her in there and saved her. Because apparently they only like sacrificing certain people. They don't sacrifice kids. I guess they have some boundaries they won't cross, which is kind of hard to believe. So Liv finds Chris in the room with Cammy the Chameleon. The chameleon then snaps Chris's neck with its tongue. Nick Cage enters the room. Oh, yeah, Cammy's fine. Oh wait, his watch alarm went off. It's break time. Sorry, gonna have to sit this one out, Liv. See ya. At least he gives her knife back. That's nice of him. So he leaves her to fend for herself, so he can go drink some more punch and play some more pinball. Amazing. I love this. So stupid. I think this was my favorite part in the movie because it came out of nowhere and it was hilarious.
Running pods. Charging up my shields.
This scene really nailed it. Kind of a dick move, but you know how it is. Every responsible man has to stick to a schedule.
Be sure to take breaks. Pace yourself.
I bet his character has like crazy OCD or something. That would explain a lot. So Nick finally takes a break, turns to his right hand. You gotta take use for some effects outside. In every fight scene aside from the one with Ozzy. Like the Ozzy fight scene was bad. Nick Cage drags Cammy to the dumpster when he's stopped in his tracks by Siren Sarah and Tito the Turtle. Oh no, what's he gonna do?
Wings up.
It's no big deal. You know, he just nonchalantly walks past the fight. Whatever. The cops show up at Willie's. Yes, the sheriff is scared of the repercussions of their being broken. They zip tie Nick and they take Liv outside, put her in a cop car, and start driving her to the station. Nick is now alone in a room with his hands zip tied, with Cammy the Chameleon and Sarah the Siren. You guys think a little zip tie is gonna stop Nicholas?
Wings up.
They thought that a zip tie would stop him. What do you say to me?
Wings up.
He's speechless. I would put Nick silent. It starts playing heads, shoulders, knees, and toes.
Charging on my shields.
I do kind of love this. It's such a hilarious Little did Liv know, Tito the Turtle was on the cop car.
Wings up.
How they didn't know it
launching missiles.
Beyond.
Let's go!
You didn't notice that? What? Ow! This scene right here is right before they start driving. So this turtle is pretty stealthy. It's this giant fucking Mexican turtle with a sombrero, and you didn't notice him on top of your car? So it kills the cop. Liv is able to get her hands on the shotgun. But oh my god! Tito has the shells. The shotgun, it doesn't matter though. She just beats him with it. Yeah, she just beats Tito the Turtle with the shotgun. And that was enough, I guess. Tito just did not want to use his claws on this girl for some reason. I'm starting to think that these animatronics aren't a huge threat. If a 16-year-old girl can beat the shit out of one with a shotgun, and that's enough to take it down, not really scared of them anymore, to be honest. Yeah, this part was dumb as hell. We're then shown one of the most hilarious scenes in the entire movie. The camera slowly pans to the right, revealing Sarah the Siren's legs. You can see her animatronic body squirming. And then you see Nick Cage. He sat on top of her face, and he squishes her head with his big, juicy man thighs. He just squishes her head. Those big, meaty man thighs. I mean, how could you possibly stop that from happening? I mean, I would have liked to have seen how he got on top of her. That probably would have been fun to see, but I like to imagine that he like bounced in the air, landing perfectly on her face with his legs. Cammy the Chameleon is awestruck, I guess. She's just kind of like standing there watching Sarah die. So Nick stands up and he just snaps the zip tie like it's nothing. He snaps Cammy's neck and then it's back to cleaning. You thought he forgot his purpose here? You're so wrong. Nick is here to clean. And that's what he's gonna do. And of course he has to change his shirt. It's dirty. Gross. Gotta stay fresh. Gotta stay clean. So the only animatronic left is Willie the Weasel. Nicolas Cage gets ready for their showdown by playing pinball and dancing simultaneously. That's just how good he is. This is definitely one of the best scenes. You can tell they had a lot of fun making this movie, which I can respect. Nicolas Cage's hair is just like flopping all over the place. The sheriff is kind of an insane person, so she sees Nick bring another dead animatronic out to the dumpster. Instead of just letting him kill off the rest of the animatronics, which would solve her problem, right? She decides to hold him at gunpoint. Again. So Willie can get his sacrifice. Why wouldn't she just help him try and kill Willie? I mean, he doesn't need help. She could at least try and help him. I mean, there's only one animatronic left. And are you seriously telling me that this guy is walking around beating the shit out of these animatronics like it's nothing, and these cops couldn't take care of them with guns? Oh my god. Nick is clearly not having a lot of trouble killing these things. She should just wait for him to kill them. But yeah, she holds the gun at him and she's like, Willie, come on out, I have him. Come and kill him, Willie. So surprise, surprise, Willie pops out of nowhere and he just kills the sheriff. Yeah, he just swipes the top half of her body off her legs like a hot knife through butter. It's that easy. And then the ultimate showdown begins. Willie gets some hits off on Nick and leaves him in a ball pit. But you think that was enough to take down Nicolas Cage? And it looks like it's break time again. So Nick heads to the break room. He gathers the remaining sodas that he hasn't drank so far. He
I'm
must
the one
be
who'll
addicted
be
to
here
these
when
things.
this is
He
over.
brought like 40 with him into this place for one night, and he's already had like, what, 15 of them? He puts a bunch of these cans into a sack, and he takes the 2 sticks that he used earlier on Ozzy,
mechanized
takes
and
them
ready
together,
to go.
and those are his 2 weapons. He goes out to face Willie. He uses the sticks to block Willie's attacks, and then he just beats the shit out of Willie with the bag of cans of soda. That's a great way to crush and destroy your favorite drink, Nicolas Cage. Not sure why you would do that, because clearly you have an addiction to these things. This final fight is kind of underwhelming. What I expected to happen was him to go into the break room and chug the remaining like 15 cans or whatever it is that he had left, so he could achieve God status, right? Kind of like a video game. I like to imagine these canned drinks as like a strength buff of some sort, and drinking all these cans would give him some sort of like God status, and he just walks out and beats the shit out of Willie with his fists. That's what I would have liked to see, but this works too, I guess. The next day, Tex McAdoo, remember Tex McAdoo? How could you forget that name? He gives Nick the keys to his fixed-up ride. Liv and Nick stare at each other for a second, and then they both enter the car. I suppose they both silently agreed that he's like adopting her or something. I'm not sure. Sarah the Siren is still alive in the dumpster. She ends up blowing up the car that Tex and the mechanic are sitting in, destroying herself along with them. While driving away, Nick Cage is about to chug another can of punch, but begrudgingly shares and gives it to Liv. He's a changed man. Remember when he stole the knife from her? Well, he's repaying her with a bottle of his precious punch. His precious punch. Tito the Turtle is still in the road from the night before. So Nick Cage runs him over. It ends with a cute animation of Willie. Ultimately, this movie
Hi
is
there. Do be careful out there. We fight best
I'm not
together.
ashamed to admit that. It's bad. But it's still a fun watch. I don't think it's terrible. I kind of see it as a big fun. I would have liked Nick Cage to have said at least one word. Maybe after destroying Willie, he could have said something. Like a simple one-liner with a camera.
The radiance of the sun will fall down upon you.
It's hard not to miss Nick Cage does nothing. He does scream a bit. But I would have liked him to say something. Yeah, I thought Liv's character was kind of lame. And I understand why so they could have someone for the animatronics to kill. But maybe instead of doing that, they could have just showed a bunch of corpses in this place, you know. And along with the intro scene of them killing a couple, I think that would have been more than enough to show the audience that these things have a lot of trouble killing people. Ultimately, I thought that this was my favorite series. While they did place without any outside help, I also would have liked the animatronics to be scary in any way, because they weren't. Like where Willie did tower over
The best things come in pairs. Two blows, two deaths. Triple kill.
It wasn't me.
Looks like we have a fearless warrior on our hands. Killing spree.
So sorry.
Actually, I take back everything I said. This is my favorite movie ever made. Now, if you're watching this, Geo Parsons, please
Your
send
middle
me
tower is under
one of those
attack.
staff shirts. Because
On
I
my
want
way.
one.
Be
I
careful.
know you have extras lying around. I know I didn't say that this movie's the best thing in the world. Please. Please. I thought Nick Cage was good. But it's kind of hard to fuck up. I guess
Ally has been slain.
wearing this video, you can get it over at
More work for you to do. Double kill.
You next, comment section down below. And if you like this,
Precise strike. Excellent work.
odds are I will definitely. Those are my comments.
Need to head back to recharge. Check out what's in your side.
The Amazing Spider-Man. The two Spider-Man movies well, maybe more so for the second movie. The first movie got a lot of good reviews, and it seems like a lot of people like it. By the way, I'm talking about the Andrew Garfield movies, not the Amazing Spider-Man movie from 1977. I haven't seen that movie, but I'm sure it's great. As far as the more modern era of
Stand it on way again.
a lot, Raimi's trilogy gets
Even
referenced
as
a
your
shit
allies
ton,
fail
and
you,
it's adored by
seek
most
opportunities
Spider-Man
to turn the
fans.
battle.
I'm something of a amogus myself.
The second movie in the Raimi trilogy, many consider the best Spider-Man movie of all time.
How does it feel to be wrong?
With Spider-Man No Way Home coming out next month, I thought it would be appropriate to
An
cover a
enemy has
Spider-Man
been
movie,
slain.
but I wasn't really sure which ones to cover. You can't
Oh,
hear
you're not
enough
even
praise for the
WT.
Raimi trilogy, and a ton of people adore Tom Holland's interpretation.
I don't feel so good.
Now, I know a lot of people don't really like Spider-Man all that much, but more recently it seems like people have been changing their minds about that movie, but not so much when it comes to The Amazing Spider-Man 2. It seems like a lot of people dislike that movie, so I desperately want to cover it, but I don't want to just cover that movie, I want to
You
cover the
think they
first
would
one as
learn,
well. One,
but they
because
keep
of the
running at you.
context of the second movie, and two, because
Stand it on way again.
if you ask the Spider-Man fan who
enemy has
thinks played
been
Spider-Man
slain.
the worst in the movies, they're most likely going to say Andrew Garfield. I think that has more to do with the movies themselves than Andrew's performance, and the fact that he's going up against the likes of Tom Holland, who was basically born to play Spider-Man. Obviously, he's going to be the Lord. And I can't help but feel bad for Andrew Garfield because he's a massive fan of and he has an incredible amount of It's stated that when he first put the Spider-Man costume on, he admitted to shedding tears. He also confessed to not wearing any underwear while wearing the suit because it was so tight. The first release was released during the 50th anniversary of Spider-Man's first appearance in comics, and 10 years after the release of Sam Raimi's The Amazing Spider-Man 1 was originally conceived as Spider-Man 4, a direct sequel to the original movie. Sony Pictures had actually begun skyrocketing in excess of $100 million, and Raimi unhappy with recorded versions of the script, and prior to Raimi was fired in the studio, Sony opted in January of 2010 to cancel the film and reboot the series instead. Raimi has stated that this was for the best because he hated the studio interference with Spider-Man 3, and he thought the story can and a million music videos. Yeah, for some reason he loves to make music. During the beginning of the movie, he was on Uncle Ben and Aunt May at a very young age because his father Spider-Man seemed sought after and his family is in danger. The first words spoken in the film are from young Peter Parker. counting backwards while playing hide and seek. This appears to be a wink at the audience reference that this film, the fourth Spider-Man film in a decade, is taking the audience back to the beginning of Spider-Man's story. And this same scene we then see grown-up Peter in high school. I guess he's supposed to be the nerdy kid, and he's getting bullied. We're supposed to believe this guy is Peter Parker. But his appearance doesn't exude this at all. And while Andrew Garfield isn't a good guy, this isn't his fault. They could have easily made him look like they turn him into a mouse. He's like a cool What's more is that 60 seconds into this movie, he's approached by an attractive girl, which makes sense, right? He's an attractive guy. Why wouldn't she approach him? But the movie bamboozles wants him to take photos of her boyfriend's car. Okay. I would have preferred it if they gave him glasses, but they didn't. They decided to make him wear contacts instead. And it's so weird that he styles his hair. That doesn't seem like something like a nerd Peter Parker would care about. It might seem like I'm droning on about this for too long, which I am, but his look here doesn't fulfill the meek, geeky, weird kid stereotype that I like to see in my bully victims, okay? I should also add that Peter may be a reference to Spider-Man being a popular unlockable character in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, where he has the ability to use some of his superpowers while skateboarding. Peter has trouble getting his belongings out of a locker because this couple is making out in front of it. Move out of the way, you weirdos. Then Peter the Creeper takes a photo of Gwen Stacy, played by Emma Stone, without her knowledge. He needs it for his spank bank back home. While most people who aren't familiar with the comics might have very love interest, but Gwen Stacy and he's bullying some other kids with a bunch of people around watching.
എനിക്ക് മാർക്ക് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നെങ്കിൽ എനിക്ക്
I know they're a bunch of kids. This bully is Flash Thompson, and he doesn't like it when people call him Eugene. So Peter approaches him all the time. Put him down, Eugene. What the fuck did you just say? Huh? Little bitch. This is the Eugene bully makes a really funny sound when he drops. Eugene punches Peter, Gwen shows up and stops everything. We're then introduced to Aunt May and Uncle Ben, played by Sally Field and Martin Sheen.
I'm going for Jungle Ball.
Pizza! Okay.
Stand in our way again.
Hey, pizza time! Let's go! Hey, alright.
God, rats.
Peter is helping with chores around the basement until he finds a briefcase left by his biological father. Uncle Ben tells Peter that his father asked him to keep the briefcase safe. Peter replies by saying, "Why, there's nothing in here." Except there is stuff in there. His Oscorp badge is in there. His glasses are also in there, which is kind of weird, right? Maybe there's like a secondary There's also some pens and pockets. Peter tries on the glasses, and they are his exact prescription because they're related. Everybody knows.
Ally has been slain.
He's just trying them on,
death.
but no, he's wearing them throughout the movie. So they're his prescription. After further inspection, Peter finds a secret compartment in his father's spider-web search kit. Also, remember the Ring trilogy when Peter's bitten by the spider? Well, in this movie, the spider bite doesn't correct his vision because after his vision, there's still parts where he's walking around with the glasses. He walk around with fuzzy vision because of these glasses, and he does it just so people will recognize him, even though that would never work. Or these aren't prescription glasses, and he's just wearing them for style. And his dad also wore them for style. I mean, they look pretty cool, so.
Eyesight soon approach. Subject no longer requires corrective lenses.
Uncle Ben enters the room to speak to Peter about his real dad. I gotta say, I really like Martin Sheen in this role. I think he plays a perfect Uncle Ben. I don't think he's like as perfect as the Raimi trilogy Uncle Ben, but he's pretty close. He gives off those comforting family vibes that I would expect from Uncle Ben. We then see Peter researching more about his dad and his dad's partner, Dr. Kurt Connors. He has a I guess it's supposed to be a photo of he's a part of the school, but Wednesday says Uncle Connor Friday, but he only opens windows. Keep looking at her. Later in the movie, Uncle Ben tells us about Peter's background as a computer. Moon shines away from
Stand in our way again.
So Peter finds out that his parents were killed in a plane crash, and Dr. Connors is working at NYC. Peter arrives at the building to find out more about Dr. Connors and his work there. There's an intern tour for 24 students being held. Peter approaches the front desk and awkwardly steals one of the students' badges. And this particular student is named Rodrigo. Peter didn't need to prove his identity.
Seek opportunities to turn the back.
Looks like me. He just grabbed the badge like he was looking for at Starbucks. And then we see the real Rodrigo getting kicked out of the building. But earlier, the receptionist saw Peter take his badge. She saw the name on the badge and was skeptical that it wasn't him. She even said the name Rodrigo.
The moon's down now. Oh, look. More work for you to do. The best things come
But
in
I'm
pairs.
assuming if the receptionist wanted to keep her job, then she would definitely inform security when the real Rodrigo showed up and was able to provide ID confirming his identity. I think Peter definitely would have been kicked out. They just had to find a way to get Peter in here, but in a really dumb way. Anyway, Gwen Stacy works here, and she's showing the interns around the building. Peter notices her and tries to hide himself. She introduces Dr. Connors, the amputee who's missing his right arm.
I guess in case you're wondering, I'm Southpaw.
Ally yourself with someone so weak. An enemy has been slain.
During filming, the sleeve that Rise Ithans wore, so his body moved in production, was called Kermit. Michael Fassbender was originally considered for the role of Dr. Connors, but he eventually went on to play Magneto in X-Men First Class. I think Fassbender would have been a perfect Dr. Connors, but I'm mostly happy with Rhys Ifans' performance. Rhys Ifans. Dr. Connors asks the student a question about the cures of tomorrow, and then he says some lizards can regrow limbs and live. Now, I know this is the regrowth of a lizard's tail, for example, is an automatic process like hair growth on mammals. There's no will involved. So he's imputing will to a natural process, which is a rather anthropomorphic metaphor for someone who should know much better. Curtis Connors then explains that herpetology is the study of reptiles, but it's actually a study and amphibians. Idiot.
Been
Such an
slain.
omission is
You
pretty
think they would
odd
learn,
for a character
but they keep running
that's
at you.
intelligent like this guy. By the way, while I'm talking about Dr. I can't help but think about Curtis Connor. Does his dad know that he named him after the lizard from Spider-Man? Now I know it's spelled. Peter speaks up, even though he knows Gwen is standing right behind him. Well, he's not an enemy has a list of all the students. She even looks at the list of students and doesn't see him there. So she gets and she ends up covering for him when Dr. Connors asks.
Stand in our way again.
Peter tries to
ally yourself with
but is
someone
approached by
so
Gwen,
weak.
and they have this very awkward exchange. Peter then runs into a man who drops documents that Peter recognizes in the papers that he
Double
found in his
kill.
father's briefcase. So he follows the man and watches them enter the code to a highly restricted room. The code to enter is the same type of thing that you'd use to unlock an Android phone. You know, like the connect the dot thing? Again, I know I'm nitpicking, okay? But this is such a stupid way to keep people out. Not only is it big as you can but that's the only thing you need to do to get in. There's no fingerprint, no eye scan. It's just like, hey, just do this. There you go. Peter is extremely reckless and snoopy in this scene. I get that he's very curious what his dad was up to, but Jesus, does he want to go to prison? I guess he's very lucky that there weren't any security cameras in this room for some reason. He eventually finds his way into a room with a huge spinning wheel full of spiders. He's like, oh, this is cool, so he touches it like a moron. So it stops spinning and a bunch of the spiders fall onto Peter. In the next scene, we find out that Dr. Connors was hired to find a cure for Norman Osborn, who is dying. And if he doesn't find one, then he's in deep trouble. Peter is spotted by Gwen while trying to sneak out of the building. Again, I guess she's the only person in this place with eyeballs. She orders him to give his badge to her. Unbeknownst to him, there's a spider on his neck, and it bites him. Then we get the bus scene, where Peter wakes up because water hits his skin. But not when this guy places a bottle on his face. Either way, his Spidey abilities are fully active now. He jumps and attaches to the ceiling. He doesn't really know how his sticky fingers work, so he accidentally rips a girl's shirt off. Her boyfriend's pissed off, so he tries to fight Peter, but Peter's reflexes picks these guys up basically on accident. He's working faster than his mind can keep up, because it's still aside from the bottle thing, stop his reflexes. Peter arrives, catches a fly in front of him, then goes to the fridge, and like a massive pothead with the munchies, starts pounding his meat into his mouth like a gay Seth Rogen as his aunt He practically takes everything from the fridge and brings it upstairs. When he gets to his room, he pulls a spider web out of the spider bite wound. I didn't know I was watching Dr. Pimple with a twist. Oh god! Attached to the other end of the web is the spider that bit him. He didn't feel that huge spider crawling around his chest? How's that possible? And he doesn't kill it because that doesn't mean anything, I guess. You might wonder how I know this, because the next morning it's seen crawling around his room. That's kind of reckless. After you've seen what the spider does to someone, why would you just let it crawl around your room? Then Peter destroys his bathroom because he can't control his newfound strength yet. Peter is then seen studying his dad's notes on the roof. He's on the roof because, you know, spiders have a tendency to want to go up high. They love heights. It's a spider thing. Peter then decides to pay Dr. Connors a visit at his home because he has a huge boner for science. He desperately wants to learn how to grow a fat ass like a real spider. He introduces himself as Richard Parker's son, so Dr. Connors lets him into his home. Peter shows him his Einstein numbers, and Dr. Connors is very impressed. In the next scene, we're brought to the school's basketball court where Eugene is bullying more kids. Sorry, Flash Thompson. Peter humiliates Flash. He's like, bro, just take the basketball. It's right here in my hand. What's the problem, dude? Just take it. And Flash tugs on it, but oh god, it's stuck to his sticky hand. It won't budge. Oh no. The sticky spider cum dried on the basketball, and it's so strong. Then Peter dunks on Eugene. Quite literally. Like a straight badass. Except foul. He's traveling. You gotta dribble the ball, dude. And he slammed into him. Foul number 2. No fair. And then he destroys the backboard. Come on. Is that a foul number 3? I don't know if that counts, but. Then Gwen and Peter have a very awkward exchange in the hallway. Look at Peter's face right here. Why is he trying so hard to be sexy? It's weird. We then get to see Peter perform these epic skater
I guess
tricks.
I നിർത്തുവാണ്
He bounces around with his new spider abilities. I feel like turning him into a skater makes him too cool.
Anyways, ഞാൻ
Peter
തൽക്കാലത്തേക്ക്
Parker
നിർത്തുക.
isn't supposed to be
വേറൊന്നും ഇല്ല.
cool
കാരണം
until he
കുറച്ച്
becomes
പണിയുണ്ട്.
Spider-Man. You know what I mean?
ഞാൻ നോക്കട്ടെ.
He's kind of a nerdy weirdo.
Anyways, പതിവ് പോലെ
I do
goodbye,
like how skating was
GG's, and
used in such a way
to
for
be
us to see
continued.
Peter test his
Bye-bye.
powers while also doing an activity that he enjoys. But the